This is a journey into sound. A journey which along the way will bring to you new color, new dimension, new values, and a new experience.
Welcome to the Ghee Spot Podcast. I'm your guide, Katie Silcox, bringing you your weekly self-love soundbite. Join us for conversations around sex, spirit, and all things self-care. All things self-care. All things self-care.
This is a journey into sound.
Uno, dos, tres, cuatro.
You are a Ghee Spot Podcast with Katie Silcox.
Hey beauties, you know, the amazing thing about this podcast is that you get it for free. And today it is sponsored by one of my favorite girl businesses based in Northern California, totally female owned, family run, Pavani. Pavani actually means purity. And I personally use their products because they're amazing. They're organic, they're vegan, they're handmade by these beautiful Ayurvedic herbalists and totally Shakti empowered. I love their stuff. I particularly am digging their coconut milk bath right now. I've been doing a lot of Ayurvedic milk bathing, which is actually a beautiful Shakti ritual that cleanses the body, pampers the skin, calms the senses, and coconut milk is an option. You can use their coconut milk bath. It's got Himalayan salt in it. It's got cardamom, turmeric, Epsom salts. I love me some Epsom salts, lavender, and rose. So I'm really proud to have Pavani as our sponsor. And guess what? They're offering you guys, our dear listeners, a big old discount code of 15% off your purchase at their website, pavaniayurveda.com. We will give you the link in the show notes. That discount code is GheeSpot, GheeSpot. All right, guys, on to the show. Hey, welcome to the Ghee Spot, you guys. Have we got a show for you? Okay, I want to talk about getting grounded today. And I want to say that we all know this, we've all heard this, we all get this, we all intuitively sense this, but I want to use today on the Ghee Spot to really talk about how to do this, because it's very different to talk about getting grounded or write an article about how important it is to ground and to actually know how to do it. It's like I get kind of annoyed and frustrated when I read articles, you know, I might be like trying to figure out something about my health and the article will say, you know, here are the ways to balance your hormones. And then it's like, number 1, de-stress. I'm like, yeah, would but it were so simple, as our friends across the pond say. So today I want to talk about how to get grounded, but more importantly, I am going to do it with you. And now, totally for free, you're going to have an amazing meditation recorded on how to get grounded. But before, I want to talk about this a little bit and a little bit about why this matters a lot. Okay. So why should we be getting grounded, and why, if you spend more than 30 minutes on the internet every day, then you really need this. Okay. Now, many of our listeners are, let's say this, we're empathic people, we're sensitive people, we feel, right? But the truth of that is everybody is empathic and everybody is highly sensitive and everybody deeply feels. Everybody. Yes. Even Donald Trump. Okay. Now, according to Ayurvedic medicine, that light body, that deeply loving, feeling, intuitive, innocent, highly connective creature because of the vicissitudes of life / the lineage that we come from, over time it just like gets caked over with a layer of dust, and then again, and then again, and then again, right? And over time you get so caked up, it becomes mud. And then you don't seem like you're aware of other people or tuned to the natural world or caring and feeling. Right. But so I want to establish, like, no one here is special. It's just that those of us that tend to be drawn towards these healing disciplines, these interconnected disciplines, we tend to have just a little bit less dust, but it doesn't mean that we don't have deep imbalances and lessons to learn. Okay. All beings right now that live in the modern Western world, and I'm going to keep this very simple because it's very complex and we go into this in Ayurveda school more deeply. But to keep it simple, all of us that are living in the Western world, especially because of our devices, which devices sounds a lot like divisive, by the way, just some food for thought. Because of our devices, and not only because of our devices, but exacerbated by our devices, our energy, our prana, tends to collect from our heart upward. And again, this is more complex, but I want to keep it very simple. And so you can imagine all these like Western world, device cultured beings. And I'm including the East in this as well, because if you go to Korea or India or Japan or China, you can see in a modern city, it's the same effect. The energy looks like a ball that lives from the heart up to the head. And that's where we live. Okay. If you're an energy seer, you can see this. Now, if you go to, when I used to live in India and we'd travel through the countryside, or if you go where I'm from out in the holler, right, or in the fields, where you might be able to meet a nice old farmer man who does not have any interest in the internet, which is becoming very rare these days, who's been, think about a Joel Salatin, who spends a lot of time working with pigs and chickens and cows and seeds and soil and bending down on the earth. I think about when I was in Rajasthan, like traveling through the fields and the countryside and seeing the women squatted down in their beautiful red and orange saris, and they were with the earth. So if you see that energy manifestation in the body, it's more balanced, but especially if you only work with the earth, the energy is going to be more collected from the waist down. Okay. Now I'm so in love with this topic, and you should join Ayurveda school for January if you're not already in Ayurveda school, because we go more deeply into the nuances of this. But for today, thinking about this in a very simple way, your digestive capacity to be able to not only digest life and digest toxins and digest food, but also to be able to digest the karma of your lineage. So all the stuff your mama and your grandmama and your daddy and your granddaddy, like all of the stuff that they passed on to you unknowingly, this is the realm, is the belly down. And the yogis knew this, and that is why we talk so much about Kundalini, right? This bowl that holds the past. Okay. Now, again, I'm going to try not to go deeply into this to keep it super simple. Your feelings about you your feelings about your lineage, your ancestors' feelings about their life that they weren't able to digest, your feelings are felt and processed from the waist down into your legs. And the earth is the thing that can mulch the past. And the earth is the thing that can digest your pain and suffering. And the earth is the thing that can pull it like a magnet out of you. Got it? It's crazy, crazy amazing. Okay. Now, from the heart up is not your feelings and not your lineage and not your experience, but it's actually the feelings of other people. And I'm keeping it very super simple because it's more complex than this, but it makes sense energetically. Like you're hanging out with your friends and you're in your heart. You're hanging out on the internet and you're in your head and your heart. And this is a realm of thinking and feeling that is taking in, and we talk about this in Ayurvedic medicine's pranvayu, the ability to take in information about the outside world and have an experience of the outside world and have a congruent, copacetic, and commiserative relationship with the outside world. It's a beautiful thing, you guys. But now you're probably sensing where I'm going with this. If we only are up in our heart and our head, we actually are digesting and processing the outside world and their experience and their feelings. It's like a selfie, as Dr. Svoboda says, a selfie, taking a picture of a selfie. It's this beautiful human capacity, but because we've left the earth, because we've left our legs, because we've left our capacity to digest and feel our own experience, we don't even know what we're feeling. We only know, we don't know that what we're currently feeling is not our feeling, but the feeling of the outside world who's also not feeling their own feelings. And this is the realm of Ketu and Rahu in the planetary astrology system, where Rahu has a head and no body, and Ketu is a body and no head. It's a hall of mirrors. So, how do we get out of that? I know that I, for one, want to be feeling my own experience. And then I can connect with you and the outside world, but only when that digestive capacity of my own stuff is really strong. There's another component to this is really important that, again, is very complex, but to keep it simple. When you have had any form of trauma in your life, and that's everybody, when you have had lineage trauma, when you have had really hardcore stuff happen to you, or little things that just dinged that sense of it's not safe here, you'll leave the body. We call this in therapeutics, we call this dissociation. But the shamans and yogis have always understood this. It's called soul ejection, disembodiment. You just leave. It's like my friend Mayor Hogan says, press the eject button. And I think that this is more common than we know. And it's something I know very well. So we have to invite the soul back into the body. And that involves moving our energy down. Okay. So if you're like, OMG, this is incredible. I feel like this is ringing so true for me. I know it's pretty pertinent to the time that we're living in and to the experience of so many beings on the planet who are experiencing so much, quote, mental health issues. Especially I'm feeling this for our young people, our college age people, our folks in their 20s and our youngsters in their teens. This is really important. So if you have a young, especially woman, but not only, but if you have a youngster in your life, let them listen to this podcast. Put some earphones and say, hey, let's do this practice on getting grounded, because our young people are really struggling with this right now. Okay, so I want to talk so much more about this. If you're like, OMG, this is amazing, you just have to join Ayurveda school. I'm sorry, it starts January 2022, and you can join our subscription program. We're starting in September. I am going to be meeting with you guys once a month for a long form lecture where we are going to do these practices and dive deeply into our spirits. And you just have to be in one of those two channels if you want the deeper experience of the deeper information. And I'm so excited about that. But for today, we're going to just do a quickie. Okay, so here's what it looks like. If you're in your car listening, you may not want to do this in the car driving. You could definitely do it if you're walking. It will require a little bit more skill. So ideally you're doing this laying down, seated, or even more and most ideally, you're doing this outside on the ground. But you don't have to be doing this outside on the ground, but that's ideal. So take a moment to get comfortable. Feel your awareness arriving into the body, letting your breath slow a little bit, just naturally. Inviting anything in that you feel is a support for you on the spirit level, on the human level. I work with the energy of Christ consciousness. I call that force of Christ's love and mercy and sweetness into the space for myself. It might be Buddha, or Goddess. The love of your ancestors, the goodness of your ancestors, the angels, whatever it is that you genuinely and authentically feel connected to, you invite that in, this matrix of support. And feel that all around you, surrounding you like a protective egg, front, back, side to side. And then as you start to feel established in that, bring the awareness to the head. And I want you to imagine an elevator that is holding magnets. And from your head, feel the elevator going from your head, dropping down into your throat, elevator going down, dropping down into your heart, elevator of magnets pulling down into your solar plexus, the belly, elevator of magnets going down into your pelvis, down, down, down into your legs, heavy, through your knees, through your shins, elevator going down into your ankles, into the soles of your feet, and dropping all the way down, 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 down into the earth. And that is the flow of energy. So head, elevator drops down, full of heavy, pulling down magnets, throat, heart, navel, root, legs like a river of magnets, knees, shins, ankles, feet, and maybe spend a little time really getting the sensation of the feet and legs. And I want you to repeat that pulsation of elevator magnetism dropping down, 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 down. And I'm going to leave you some space so you can move that pulsation of elevator dropping down. And if it helps, you can imagine it like a river. Whatever works for you. Light, whatever works for you. And here's the thing that's super helpful for me, because I have a very intellectual tendency. I tend to go into thinking. That is a form of dissociation. Thought is leaving your body. So if I'm thinking, I know I've left the elevator grounding me. And this is, for so many of us, guys, thinking is automatic. Leaving our body is automatic. And so this may feel like you are lifting the heaviest muscle, the heaviest weight you've ever lifted. But over time, it's going to get easier, and you'll start to feel that channel is just repeating itself without you having to try so hard. Okay? So let's take a few minutes to do it silently by ourselves, of dropping the attention down, down, down. And there may come a moment when you're like, oh, I can feel it in my belly and my legs. And you don't have to start at your head. You can just stay in that Apanavayu, that downward facing triangle, that goddess's layer. This, by the way, is your feminine superpower. Down and in and down, in and down. If your mind wanders into the realm of thinking, it's okay. It's totally normal, especially in our world. Our world is moving very fast, and that speeds up the thoughts, and you're just going to come back, and maybe at this point you don't have to start at the head. It's just belly in and down your legs. Paying particular emphasis to the soles of your feet. Can you feel that they have presence there? There's life there. There's tingling there. Many of us don't even know we have legs throughout the day. And then we wonder, why am I anxious? Why am I alone? Why do I wake up in the middle of the night? And these are all symptoms of prana not easily flowing here. But we're going to get it going. And so now maybe you're at a place where that elevator of magnetism is in your belly, going down the left leg like a river, a magnetic river, and the earth starts to pull you down. And the right leg, and you might want to spend some time on one leg to get that feeling, and then you might be able to feel how you can do both at the same time. Left leg, a river of magnetic dropping down. And the right leg. And both. Take your time. Now we're just going to drop that elevator from the belly down, 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 down. You might start to feel the energy moves on its own, or you might feel, no, it does not. And that's okay. It just means we're going to build that muscle. But what I can promise you is that if you practice this, it will start to get easier. And you will be able to feel it moving on its own. Now, as you're doing this, it's very common to have emotion. And remember, we spoke of this before. Now you're beginning to feel what you feel. And it is not a great intuitive leap to understand that as you feel what you feel, you can begin to differentiate what is yours and what is you from what is outside. And you can begin to trust your feeling. Let's just do a few more minutes of the belly through the legs. And now bring your attention to the soles of the feet. And these last few minutes of practice, the river from the head all the way down through the belly, through the legs, ending at the soles of the feet. And now really concentrate on that sole of your feet being a portal into you in relationship with the earth. And if you can put your feet on a surface like the floor or the ground, that's even better. And this practice helps, if we were speaking the words of science, this practice helps activate the more parasympathetic nervous system, the healing aspects of the parasympathetic nervous system. Good. And now you may feel that you want to spend a lot more time in this practice, and I understand why, right? It's once you get in that channel, it feels so good. And the way that, one of the important things about this is as you work with it, again, as I said, you'll have emotion, memory. It's all a great sign that you're being purified. And your channels from your belly down into your legs are opening up. That's a very good thing, right? But the more you clear and purify these channels and activate Apanavayu, this downward force of love meeting love, right? Your earth mother loving on you, right? The more that loving downward flow can activate, the way that you know that this is happening is that you begin to sense there is life in my pelvis and legs. There is power in my pelvis and legs. There is goodness in my pelvis and legs. That's one of the telltale signs that prana is alive and well. And so if you begin to start to feel that, that's a great sign that this is really doing its work. But it may take a while for that to happen. And so if you're sensing discomfort, I know for myself, sometimes when I first started doing this, there's like a feeling of annoyance or even anger, like, ugh, this is so hard to have to do this work. That's all a sign that things are really purifying and starting to move. So feel free to pause this recording and soak in that downward magnetism of getting grounded actually. But when you are ready, you can begin to open your eyes like a fourth of the way or halfway. As you begin to open your eyes, see if you can begin to slowly, now eyes can start to open fully, sense the outside world. But can a part of you stay in the belly legs and that river of life moving downward, downward, downward? And then as you go throughout your day-to-day, working on the computer, driving, running around town, whatever it is that you do, when you're speaking particularly with other people, could a part of you remain inside you? You inside you. Belly through the legs. And this will be of great service to know who you are, to keep yourself inside yourself, to not leave your body, and to differentiate what is yours from what is of the outside world. All right, beauties, it's great to practice with you, and I hope to see you inside the classroom soon.
फूटे फूल अपन सुखे